Coast are here. The hosts are back in a semi-final of the AFCON Cup of Nations, but standing in the way are DR Congo. Can they surprise us all and make the final? We're going to take a little look next. Today we're looking forward to the Ivory Coast, the hosts. Of course, hosts with the mosts, are they? Or will it be DR Congo taking all the glory as both sides look to get themselves into a final over in the AFCON Cup of Nations? We'll get into all of it in a second. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They are the patrons. You know who you are. And again, if you're new, where the hell have you been? Smash your subscribe button. Your one-stop shop for the AFCON continues. I also got Rovers content, of course, as we always do. And world football right here under one roof. Of course, we are looking forward to this, though. It is not that. It is that. There we go. It is Ivory Coast against DR Congo. Of course, one nation will come through on top, and one nation will, of course, go home. Of course, this match will be taking place on the 7th of February at the Stade Olympique de Santa Utara. That's right, over in Ivory Coast. Let's take a look then at the host's journey thus far. It's been a bumpy one thus far. Of course, they have been announced as hosts way back when, but they did qualify as Group H runners-up back on the 30th of January 2019. Their 25th finals, 2021 was the last. They were champions back in 92. And 2015, Jean-Louis Gasset was your manager. No longer, of course, is Emis Faye, who's done a fantastic job navigating these knockout stages. Usamin Dimande was your star man, or is your star man. 7-1 is the odds way back when. Last 16 was, of course, my prediction way back when. Of course, this is their journey, and what a journey it's been. Of course, everybody had written them off here in the group stages, finishing third place, and they had to wait pretty much the final day to see if they qualified to those last 16. And they had just about done it. They kicked it all off. Everything seemed nice and rosy here with that 2-0 win over Guinea-Bissau. Then they lost to Nigeria in the Battle of the Nations, of course. And this battle could resurface in the final, of course. So it could be part two, not too far away. Then, of course, a 4-0 spanking by Equatorial Guinea. I think they just had one of those days. So back-to-back games without a goal. Follow that up, though, with a 1-1 draw against the champions, Senegal. 1-1 draw, dragging it to penalties. And, of course, with the crowd on their side, Ivory Coast came out on top over the Senegal side, who are now back home with their feet up. Next up, of course, was Mali. 2-1 winners again for Ivory Coast. A couple of red cards, which, of course, will have an effect on this match. But it is, of course, Ivory Coast who are here up against DR Congo. Of course, take a look at the key men then for Ivory Coast. Got Fofana between six, Conan, Ndika, Diomande, Aurier. Got Fofana, Sangari, Kessie, Dringa, Hala, Diakante up top. Those are some of the key players. There, of course, and much more than that. DR Congo qualified as Group I winners way back on the 9th of September 2023. 25 for them. 2019 was the best. They were champions back in 68 and 74. A long time overdue. Sebastien Desabre, your manager there. Johan Wissa, your star man. 33-1 to go the distance. I did actually make them predict they would make the last 16, but not much more than that as well. But this is their journey, of course, from Group F. An interesting Group F, only two nations qualifying in the end. Morocco looked like the real deal, coming out on top with 7 points, but it was the DR Congo in second spot with 3 points, yet to pick up a victory up until this the quarterfinal stage against Guinea. Of course, they picked up a 1-1 draw against Zambia, a 1-1 draw against Morocco, a 0-0 draw against Tanzania, going through the group stages without a win and without a defeat. Then, of course, they took on Egypt, a 1-1 draw in the last 16, dragged to penalties. Of course, they came out top with an 8-7 victory on that one. Then they followed it up with a 3-1 win over Guinea, that's right, to set themselves up with, of course, a win or bust match against the host, Ivory Coast. But here are the key men for DR Congo. We've got Mapsy between the sticks, Lionel Mapsy, not Messi, Mapsy, Kalu, Mbemba, Kayembe, Baka, Pickle, Banza, Toshobla, Wissa, Bogonda, and Dianganga up top. Those are the key men that hopefully going to steer our DR Congo to, of course, a final in the AFCON. But standing in the way, of course, will be Ivory Coast. Now, these two nations have played each other 6 times. 2014, 3 wins for Ivory Coast, 1 win for DR Congo. There's been 2 draws as well. The biggest win for Ivory Coast was a 3-1 win. They've got 13 goals, though, in those 6 matches, 2.17 goals a game. DR Congo, 4-3 victors themselves, 9 goals scored in those 6 matches, 1.50 goals a game. On 58% form, DR Congo, just 5 games without a loss. Up against the Ivory Coast side, 4 wins and 2 defeats in the last 6, on 67% form for them heading into this one. Now, these two sides last locked horns back in January 2023. It was a 0-0 draw in the African Nations Championship. Last, what was that, qualifying or what? I don't even know. It was back in round 2 of that. It was a 0-0 draw way back when. Last time that Ivory Coast one was back in October 2019. DR Congo's one and only victory was back in October 2014. Now, of course, the goals for the hosts have been all over the place. Andringa has got one, Diakate's got one, Kessie, Crasso, though, for Fana, all chipping in with a goal so far. Young Wissa is your star man for, of course, DR Congo, chipping in with a couple of goals to his name, as have a couple of other teammates. Of course, the bookies have 23-20 for your Ivory Coast, 2-1 is the draw, which means penalties, and 3-1 is, of course, your DR Congo on this one. The public vote is out, 70% gone with Ivory Coast, 30% gone with DR Congo, but it's all about me, all about my gut instincts on this one. Of course, the hosts have been here. They have been, of course, gone through the mud on this one, dragged their heels. I think there's going to be plenty of goals in this one, plenty of drama. I think in the end, the Ivory Coast, as hosts, with the backing of their faithful, will get them through to a final, and a tasty one, none the same. 3-2 victors for me in the end, but plenty of drama. Of course, we might even see those ugly penalties once again. But in the end, I'm going with Ivory Coast to be in there in a tasty final. And of course, we'll talk about that in another video. But until then, subscribe, thumbs up, catch you later. But of course, until then, we are donezoed.